Okay. Evaluate each expression if f equals negative 15, g equals 5, and h equals negative 45. So we have f minus h divided by 10. All right, so let's rewrite and replace our variables with our given information. All right, so f is 15, h is negative 45. So first we need to fix our numerator, 15 minus a negative 45, keep, change, change. So we have 15 plus 45, which would give you 60. So then you have 60 divided by 10. Ten will go into 60 6 times. So your answer would be 6. Now in our next one we have g minus 5 divided by negative 1. Again, let's put parentheses for our variable. G is 5. So you get 5 minus 5, which equals 0, over negative 1. So then what is 0 divided by negative 1? That would give you 0. Now, this one says the equation A times B equals C is given. Given this equation, complete the 4 equations. So, we have A times B equals C. And the first one they give us is negative A times question mark equals C. So, we have to look at this as negative A times some form of B will equal a positive C. So, you remember from your rules of integers, when you multiply a negative times a positive, you will get a negative. So in this case, we know that we will need a negative value of B to get a positive C. Again, given A times B equals C, we have question mark times question mark equals a negative C. So, whereas in the first one, we had a negative times a negative to give us a positive C, in this one, we know that one of our A or B needs to be negative in order for C to be negative. So we could say negative A times positive B equals negative C, or A times negative B equals negative C. Now our next one, we have question mark divided by negative V equals A. So in this one, our equation is in a different order. So if you look at the original, A times B equals C, we want to rearrange it to be like the form that they're looking for now. So to get A by itself, we would divide by B, and then we would get A equals positive C over positive B. So we have a question mark, negative B equals positive A. So again, think about your rules of integers. When we divide a negative by a negative, we get a positive answer. So we would need to replace our question mark with a negative C, and then it would be over negative B to give us a positive A. Again, we have a question mark divided by question mark equals negative A. Our original equation is A times B equals C. So now we need to rewrite it just like we did before to get A by itself. Again, A equals C divided by B, but the difference this time is our A is negative. So we need to make sure that one of our other variables is negative. So we could say negative C divided by B equals negative A, or positive C over negative B equals negative A. So this is being able to manipulate equations with only variables. Okay, the next question. A teacher assigns 4 points for a correct answer. 4 points for a correct answer. -1 points for an incorrect answer. And 0 points for leaving it unanswered. What is the score for a student who had 23 correct answers, 2 incorrect answers, and 1 unanswered questions? Okay, so let's look at the information that we underline and see what we know. So, for correct ones, you get 4 points. For incorrect, you get -1 points. And then if it's unanswered, you get 0 points. So, if you get 4 points for each correct answer, and you got 23 correct answers, that would give you 23 times our 4 available points, which would equal 92.
Abby Gallo, can you please report to the front lobby? Abby Gallo, please report to the front lobby.
Show you over here, 23 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12, carry your 1. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1. That's how you get your 92. All right, then we read further to find out that we got 2 incorrect answers, and they're worth -1 points. So 2 times -1 would equal -2. Remember, positive times a negative will give you a negative. We had 1 unanswered question, and it's worth 0 points. 1 times 0 is 0. So, what would our score be? Let's take our 92 points that we got for correct answers, our -2 points that we got for incorrect answers, and then 0 for our unanswered questions. 2 minus 2, 0, and then bring down your 9. So, your score would be 90. Now, for our last question, what are the most likely values of points A and B? Notice over on our number line we have an A and B. Convert each fraction to a decimal first. What led you to that decision? So for part A, point A equals -7 over 20, and point B is equal to 3 over 25. So we need to divide to change our fraction into a decimal. So for A, we've got to divide 20 into 7. We'll worry about the sign here in just a minute. We know that 20 cannot go into 7. So we need to add a decimal, put a 0 in the place since it cannot go, add a 0 after our decimal. How many times can 20 go into 70? 3 times 20 would be 60. Subtract, you would get 10. Bring down another 0. So you have 20 goes into 100 5 times. Now, since we have a -7 over 20, we know that our answer will be negative. So -0.35. Point B, we need to divide 25 into 3. 25 cannot go into 3, so we need to add our decimal, add a 0. 25 goes into 30 one time. 1 times 25 is 25. You subtract, you will get 5. We need to add another 0, bring it down. 25 goes into 50 2 times. 2 times 25 is 50. Now, on this one, it is a positive number, our numerator and our denominator, so we get a 0.12. So, as we look over on our number line, we know that A would be a -0.35. Let me erase that. -0.35, and B would be 0.12. So we know that somewhere in here we have a 0 because B is positive, so it's higher, and A is negative. Now, you try part B on your own. Change points A, which A is -3/5, change that into a decimal, and B is 1/4. Change those into a decimal, sketch a number line, and plot the points.